An 18-year-old lies to a waitress about having a date, sits alone for half an hour, and somehow ends up with a completely free meal.
No way.
Straight from the post. Long-time lurker, first-time poster, but figured this sub would get a laugh at a more light-hearted post. This happened a couple of years ago when I was 18. I had just been around the shopping center and decided to treat myself to a meal at one of my favorite restaurants, but as I was walking to the restaurant I suddenly got really anxious about being seen at a restaurant by myself, and I'm sure plenty of anxious people can relate when I started practicing what I was going to say in my head as I was waiting at the host desk going, "A table for one, please," in my head over and over, but when the host came over and asked table for how many, I panicked and said 2 please.
Jesus, mate, you're already setting yourself up for disaster here. Anxiety about eating alone. That's mad altogether, but I see where this is heading.
Right, well, we've all had a moment of social panic, haven't we?
And it gets worse.
Being anxious about eating alone is not stupid. Lying about having a date to cover it up, however, is textbook stupid.
I'm sat at a table by a window and my waitress came over and I said, "I'm just waiting for a date, but can I get a Coke while I wait?" And so I just sit there on my phone with a drink waiting for a person who didn't exist. I waited there for half an hour and I was just really hungry at that point, so when the waitress came back over I said, "He isn't answering me. I guess that means he isn't coming. Anyway, can I get a dash?" and ordered. The waitress was incredibly sweet and said stuff like he missed out and that I looked great and was super nice for the rest of the afternoon. All the while I feel so guilty for lying, as I don't like lying in the first place, even over most innocuous stuff like this.
See that? I beg your pardon. So you're sitting there fabricating an entire phantom date while getting increasingly hungry? This is already spectacularly misguided.
Har. But here's the thing, the waitress doesn't know any of that yet. She's just being lovely.
Shall we continue?
So he's essentially method acting a date. He's committed to the bit so hard he's actually become a man waiting for his girlfriend at a restaurant.
Har har. I'm screaming, he's the date now. He's trapped in his own lie.
You're not gonna believe the next part.
Look, the anxiety is real, yeah? But the lie is the problem. He could have just eaten alone like a normal person, but instead he's built this whole story in his head that he has to perform for the next 30 minutes. That's the trap right there.
Precisely, he's turned a mild embarrassment into an elaborate deception.
And then
he's out here performing the world's longest one-man show, and the only audience member is his own hunger. So she's gonna bring the bill and realize there's no date, right?
She's known there's no date since he ordered. She's just being professional.
Wait till you hear what happens next. I get my food, I eat, and the waitress is being super sweet the whole time until it's time for the bill. As the waitress is getting the bill, I notice I'm the only person left in the restaurant, and the waitress comes back over with the bill, and as I'm looking it over it says at the bottom, "Paid," with a little handwritten note saying to have a nice day, smiley face. I look up at the waitress and she just has a big smile on her face and says, "Have a lovely day, sweetheart," and a wave of shock, guilt and shame washes over me as I mutter out way too many thank yous like that would cleanse my sins, and in my shock I completely forgot to tip.
If you want to hear how this ends, make sure you follow FPM stories so you don't miss the next one.
Oh no, oh no, oh no, the bill's coming and the restaurant's empty. She's figured it out, hasn't she? This is about to turn.
The poor woman's probably felt this coming from a mile away.
Right then, let's see what actually happened.
The waitress probably walked up with that bill thinking, right, how do I tell this lad his imaginary girlfriend isn't showing up? That's the awkward moment of all awkward moments.
I'm screaming. One simply does not have that conversation. You're absolutely on your own there, mate.
So check this out.
The waitress's act of kindness just became the single most humiliating moment of this lad's adolescence.
Har.
I got home and told my family what happened, and it's still an inside joke to this day, and apparently it's the story my brother tells when introducing me to other people because it's just so you. This is one of those events that invades my brain while I'm trying to sleep.
That is absolutely outrageous. This story has become the defining narrative about who you are as a person. Your brothers weaponized it.
Fair play to them though, it is the perfect story to tell about someone. It's got everything.
And there's still more guilt to come.
His brother has turned him into a cautionary tale. Whenever someone needs an example of social anxiety spiraling, his brother's in the corner going, "Oh, let me tell you about my sibling."
Okay, that was good, that was good. Nah, but that's brilliant though, he's basically famous in his own family for the worst reasons. Now that is mad altogether.
Ha! And then?
What's actually quite remarkable is the self-awareness here. He knows it was anxiety, he knows it was stupid, and is still thinking about the waitress's experience years later. That suggests actual growth and empathy, despite the awkwardness of the situation.
Fair play to him for owning it, honestly.
Now this is where it gets interesting.
His brother's out here running a smear campaign at parties about one meal.
To be fair, it's a brilliant story. I'd do the same thing.
So check this out. If perchance you are the waitress who served me that day, I am so sorry. You're an absolute gem and I'm sorry you were the victim of my stupidity and anxiety.
Come on now, the fact that he's genuinely apologizing to this waitress years later is actually quite endearing. That's real remorse right there.
It is somewhat touching, though the waitress has probably forgotten the entire incident by now.
Let's hear the full summary.
Apologizing to a waitress who will never see this message, for a crime she already forgot about. Now that's Irish Catholic guilt in a nutshell.
TLDR, I got a free meal because I made up a fake date and I still feel the shame.
Follow FPM Stories. We post every single day. Drop your verdict in the comments.
Like, subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one. Peace.